Hello, hello, hello. Okay, we're still stable. We're still doing good shit. We have 2 days before we move forward with this, since that they're dreading the choice. Um, we have to decide who we're gonna be submitting this to Soul or to Helena. That sucks. I don't, or sorry, Helen. I'm sorry, but I think we should need to let the eye know. Like, Soul, I do like Soul. Soul is kind of a he's looking out for his people. I don't want to call him a coward. I don't want to call him a coward. He's looking out for his people. He's willing to like leave the eye. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about these people. He just wants to go and bounce. I don't know what showing this evidence will do to help us, right? It won't. It won't. I mean, not us, but like help the people of the eye. I want everyone. I'm playing this character as like someone who tries to help everyone. That's just how they seem to be characterized, so far in the game. I want to help the people of the Hearth, like of the ship, but at the same time, I also want to help the people of the Eye. So I don't know. We gotta wait 3 days for that shit. Um, grab some more spore. 2 growth spores. Okay, cool. I don't know what else I want to do. I guess I just grab more, right? Might as well. Just continuously, yeah. Let's just go to Betty by time. Cycle. We just need to keep those hills up and running. Oh yeah, it's gonna take another day. Okay. So no rush there. Maybe I work here. Let's rerun these dice. Grab that. Ooh. I don't know if that's actually that good, to be honest with you. A 1. What the fuck do I want to spend a 1 on? There. Negative, but like whatever. Sorry, can I just spend some money on this shit? Steal the harvest. Bop. Oh shit, really? There we go. That's some okay money. Not the best money, but it's some okay money. Repair ourselves a little bit. So we don't just like waste another stabilizer. And now we should be good. We should be able to talk to Peak and Ash. Hopefully get an idea of how we want to move forward here. Oh, not great dice. Sleeper. Peak is waiting for you in the corridor. It's time. Peak looks pale and disheveled, with heavy marks under their eyes and strands of hair sticking to their face. I'm ready. Peak holds up a thumbnail-sized drive. All the data compiled on the Flux event, the effects of the wave, and the structures that hide within it, is on here. You look at the tiny drive, a casket of dark secrets. I've annotated it to the best of my ability. Anyone should be able to understand the threat, the potential in this, Peak sighs. It makes for grim reading. Without intervention, the Eye will suffer a cascading collapse of systems, just like the colonies of Ember's moon. Intervention? Peak grimaces. That I'm still working on. Peak looks at the drive. This shadow in the flux, this protocol, is so hard to pin down. It adapts to any countermeasure I have tried to deploy. It is like trying to hold water in a cage. It slips straight through. There has to be a way. Pete closes their hand around the drive. We need help, Sleeper. This is about everyone on the station. They sigh. We have to set up a meeting to tell someone who can do something about all this. Helen? Perhaps, Pete pauses. If anyone can protect the Eye, it's Havenage. But their internal politics will make it hard for them to act. Will they even listen to us? Or perhaps, Pete adds thoughtfully, we've been thinking about this all wrong. Pete's eyes glint. Why make a choice when we could tell both of them? Why pick a side when the only side in this entire thing is one we all need to take? Peak speaks as they think, their words barely keeping pace with their thoughts. We need to resist this together, or we will fail. We need everyone on board, Sleeper. Peak smiles. This is the only way. We send the data to both. I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about both. Let me see if I can push that. Both. Pete gives you a firm look. I won't play politics here. You look away. Another flux event is coming. I'm sure of it. I'm not sure we can survive without help. Peak opens their hand and holds the drive out for you to take. You need to do this, Sleeper. I can't. You know Soul. You know Helen. They trust you. To them, I'm just another spacer. But you're a part of this place. Hearing someone else say it hits you hard. You are a part of the Eye. Peak is right. But right now, that feels more like a weakness than a strength. I've set up a data relay at the Cordon. It's neutral ground. Take the data and send it out to Havenage and the flotilla. Once they receive it, they will come. Well, we can be sure of that. You will meet them there, and take them through it all. No one can do a better job. They took a strand. Oops. Strand of hair behind their ear. Come with me. Pete pauses. I can't. It would only draw suspicion on you. Havenage wants nothing to do with us, and Soul is paranoid at best. Pete tentatively puts his hand on your shoulder. Thank you, Sleeper. I know this is hard, but we have to move forward. We can't keep this to ourselves anymore. They step back, looking thin and pale in the harsh station light. Come talk to me once it's done, and they slip away into the Eye. Honestly, they should have paid me to fucking be a editor on this shit. Could have gone through it, just like did a let's play. I mean, like, you know, obviously I can't do a let's play for a game that wasn't released yet, but fucking some of these mistakes, I make those mistakes as well, but it's because they don't read them out loud. Actually, a lot of the times when I send out an email that's like critically important, I read it out, like I verbalize every word, and usually I catch some shit that I wouldn't catch from just reading it in my mind. Flux data. Once you send the data for the purge, and the final series of events on the Eye will begin. After this point, you will not be able to return to complete other drives or find other endings. Make sure you're ready. Oh, this is the final ending. Well, shit. I guess we just do this, right? Let's do it. Let's send the flux data. The data sent, the only thing to do is wait. As you do, you imagine Helen receiving the data, perhaps in the middle of some Havenage Council meeting. You think of her trembling hands as she slips out of the room to read it. Her reaction, you can't predict. You imagine Soul too, one of his crew finding him in some corner of the Pilgrim Seed, overseeing the modifications that will turn it into an ark. Those sharp eyes scanning the data, looking for a way to proceed. The wait draws out, and to pass the time you watch the activity beyond the edge of the Eye, the scrap shuttles pulling components from the now abandoned Cordon, the supply skiffs making runs between the flotilla ships. It isn't long before you hear the chirping of one of Helen's now familiar drones approaching the viewing platform, and then Helen herself strides into the room. Where did you get this, Sleeper? Helen holds up a slate scrolling with streams of flux data as she entered. I need to know your source. Hello to you too. Hello to you too. You didn't bring me here for a reunion, I assume. Helen smiles a thin smile. Then you'll forgive me for skipping the pleasantries. She pauses and pushes her hair back out of her face. This is a lot to take in. A shadow protocol inside the flux, the system's CAN channel starting up, a collapse of the eye. She rubs her forehead. If I bring this to the council, they'll... She turns away. They'll believe you. She laughs. Do you know what has been happening with the Havenage sleeper? She looks away, out at the flotilla. Since the refugee ships started arriving, things have changed. It's chaos. No one can settle on a single issue. There's a division at every node. But in the division, only one group prospers, the hardliners. Because as each counselor gets tired of the arguments, gets tired of compromise, they become more attracted to the easy answers. Huh. That's interesting. That's actually very true. I never thought about that, but that actually, I mean, that actually kind of makes sense. Like, not just in here, but like with politics in general. The flotilla is to blame. The refugees are opportunists. The eye must be defended. She shakes her head. And now you're telling me they brought something to the eye that will cause its collapse? They didn't bring it. Doesn't matter, Sleeper. This is all the counselors will hear. She closes her eyes, a hand to her temple. Many of them already presume that the refugees are somehow to blame. Did someone say refugees? Soul clanks into the docking bay, grinning at the situation. Speak of the devil, and well, here I am. His suit hisses as he settles on his cane. Helen glances between the two of you, uncertain if she has been drawn into some elaborate plan. Soul holds out a hand to her. Soul, he nods. I believe we have spoken remotely, while the cordon was still up. We are all allies here. Soul raises an eyebrow. That seems a little presumptuous, doesn't it? I trust you, Sleeper, but Havenage have been the ones seeking to hold us without charge or good reason. I'm not Havenage, Helen blurts out, then corrects herself. What I mean to say is no one person represents Havenage. That's the idea. I did not support the cordon, and I did not support your quarantine. Soul nods. Well then. Soul glances at you. Anyone mind if I get myself up to speed here? He pauses, but you get the feeling he isn't expecting an answer. 1. The flux events. The very same destabilizing waves that collapsed the colonies on the moons of Ember have reached the station. He holds up a stubby finger. 2. According to data Sleeper provided, these events are acting as a cover for some kind of intrusive protocol which is causing the real damage. A second finger joins the first. 3. The Shadow Protocol will do the very same thing it did to Ember Song, Step, and Hearth, and quickly. In short, it'll shut down everything keeping this place alive. A third finger pops up. 4. And this is my favorite. We have no idea who or what is doing this, and why. So his final finger joins the other 3. Is that about the total of it? Well, of course there's going to be another flux event coming. That's it. Sounds? Helen pauses, searching for words. Intimidating. Helen turns to Soul. Did you manage to put up any kind of resistance on Ember's Hearth? Soul shakes his head. That's why we're here. The Pilgrim Seed was the biggest ship to make it out unscathed. He pauses. I suppose we didn't have this data. We didn't know what was eating up the systems. We all thought it was the flux. Helen looks at you. And I imagine you, Sleeper, and whoever helped you uncover this, might be able to figure out a countermeasure. We can try. Helen nods approval. Okay, so that's the start of it. If you'll forgive me, Soul cuts in. Part of why I'm able to save as many as I could on Ember's Hearth was that I gave up hope early. Soul shifts his weight, his suit hissing. There were endless strategy meets, system reboots, tests, and trials, but I just got on with working on the Pilgrim Seed, with getting people on board. So when the second and the third and the rest of the flux events hit, we were ready to go. So if I can offer you some advice, Miss Not Havenage, it is to give up on that line of thought you have, that hope, and to start the evacuation now. Right this cycle. Soul looks out on the observation deck toward the Pilgrim Seed. I've already started the process of converting the remaining volume of the Pilgrim Seed for human habitation. With Havenage's resource, I dare say we can finish the job with time to spare. Soul scratches at his beard. I know it's hard, and I know it's sudden, but you have to give up hope. We have to run. There will be no heroes here, just those that keep living and those that don't. Helen listens in silence, making calculations. She looks out at the bulk of the Pilgrim Seed, which, despite all its vastness, is dwarfed by the eye as a whole. Something flickers in her eyes. She opens her mouth to speak. She stops, frozen. Let me think. Helen rubs her temple. I need a moment. Helen paces. As you watch her, you realize how young she is, and how lost she is in the systems and protocols she has to navigate. You can almost see the strings and ties that bind her, glinting like webs in the wide space of the observation platform. No, we purged the Shadow Protocol. Helen stops pacing. But with what resources? The data you sent me. This thing is a shadow. Uncontrollable, untraceable. Because, like, if they keep on running, they're eventually gonna, like, it's going to catch up with them. They can't continue running. We have to do something now. That's my thought process, at least. Perhaps with the full contingent of the Havenage Systems Department, but that would require hundreds of work orders to be overlooked. Maintenance schedules abandoned. She looks away. Getting that through the council. Would that even be possible? She glances at Sol, who's partially watching, partially listening. We do it without them. Impossible, Helen looks out at the slate again. I will take this to the council. Force them to listen. Force them to act. You both jump as someone loudly clears their throat nearby. Your eyes jump to the dark entryway that Helen emerged from just moments ago. What a cozy little meeting this is. A man steps from the shadow, dressed in the same style of Havenage overalls as Helen. And I must say, that is some very incendiary rhetoric you're using, Counselor Helen. Oh, that's a hardline Havenage counselor. Oh, fucking Kemp. You glance at Helen and her face drops immediately. Kemp, she curses under her breath. Sol shifts his weight on his cane, but otherwise remains still, like a casual observer. Plotting against Havenage with an interloper, he gestures at Sol. Everyone will be so disappointed. Kemp smiles a bright smile. Some of the counselors had such high hopes for our youngest member. His smile drops. I, of course, never let novelty distract from the importance of experience. Helen stares daggers at Kemp. Enough of this petty shit, Kemp. You need to see this. She holds out her slate with an outstretched arm. The games are over. No point scoring, no more lobbying. You and your hardliners need to stop. This is something real. Kemp calmly takes the slate and prods the screen, scrolling through the flux data. His face betrays nothing, but you see some complex calculation flickering in his sharp eyes. Kemp lowers the slate and smiles at Helen. What do you think this shows? Helen frowns. Don't play games. You can read. The flux is a carrier signal for some shadow protocol, most likely corporate in nature. Maybe it's Solheim re-emerging to claim their station. Maybe it's a takeover. But either way, the station is under threat. You're right about that. But the rest? Conjecture. Kemp rubs their chin. What we have is a virus in our systems which emerged precisely when the flotilla arrived. In fact, it times in perfectly with the mysterious event that freed them. So what I see is a hostile cyber warfare attack, instigated by dissidents that fled Amber's moons after committing terrorist attacks on their own soil. Kemp's face darkens. This is the order of the facts. Nothing more and nothing less. Facts. I'll be happy to present to the council. Kemp tightens his grip on the slate. Helen laughs. You think that's the only copy of that data, you sanctimonious shit? No, I don't. Kemp smiles. But who do you think they'll listen to, Helen? Especially after tell everyone about this little clandestine meeting. You couldn't win power by Havenage's systems, by our laws, so you resort to this. Kemp shakes his head. The law is with me. It is as simple as that. He gestures, and out of the shadows, 2 Havenage security officers appear. Now, no need for that. Sol suddenly speaks up. His silence had meant Kemp had stopped paying attention to him, but now you notice he has backup of his own. A group of his crew stand at the edges of the room. They're carrying long, boxy guns. Oh shit. He does have the guns. That Ash had, that Ash lost. You've never seen anything like them on the eye. Glossy XPR logos glint along their barrels. These are Ash's guns. Kemp freezes, and the officers hesitate, holding back in the doorway. Be careful there, outsider, he stutters. Kill me, and Havenage will never forget. Soul waves a hand at him. No one is killing anyone, so let's calm down. Soul scratches his beard. But I am going to have to ask you to leave. Helen glances at him, and he gives her a gentle nod. And you'll leave your colleague here with me. He raises an eyebrow. We haven't finished our conversation. Kemp laughs and shakes his head. You are finished, Helen. The council will never allow you back after this. Then he turns and walks out of the observation deck, taking his officers with him. You all pause to catch your breath. Helen looks ready to collapse. Soul flexes inside his suit, nodding at his crew to check that Kemp has fully retreated. Soul wrenches part of his suit back into place, grimacing. Your friends leave a lot to be desired. He shoots a glance at Helen. It seems like support for the evacuation might be a hard ask. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, okay. Helen doesn't respond. She stares at the pilgrim seed once more, trying to process what's in front of her. She sighs and turns back to you both. I won't call for an evacuation. She looks at Soul. Maybe that is a fatal mistake, but I can't do it. No, I get it. Like, we want to make the eye work. And it's... We might just be running away and then bringing this issue with us elsewhere, and then we're the refugees. I understand. But, she pauses. I won't block it either. If people want to leave, Havenage will let them. That is what I propose to the council. That is what I will propose to the council, she says, if they let me speak. You have to try. She nods at you and Soul, and turns to leave. Soul's quiet. He scratches at his beard. Good luck, he offers to the departing Helen, but she does not respond. He leans on his cane. I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. None of this changes anything for me. The Pilgrim Seed will be going in a handful of cycles, whether Havenage wants it or not. How long? Soul grimaces. Honestly, as soon as we are ready. I'm not eager to run down the clock to the last cycle. Soul puts a hand on your shoulder. There's a berth for you, and for any you can gather, Sleeper. That much I owe you. And Helen? I wouldn't hold out much hope of her coming around, Sleeper. She's too tied up in all of this. Won't let her leave even if she wants to. He eyes you. Hell, I'd say the same about you. But you have a habit of proving me wrong. My crew will take me from here. Don't you worry. Soul straightens up. Oh, thank you, Sleeper, for sending the data. I appreciate the extra info. I'll see if it can help us shore up this Pilgrim Seed against any future flux events. If we had you back on Ember's Hearth, he pauses, suddenly losing his appetite for discussing the past. Soul sighs. Of course, we're going to need all the help we can get. If you can spare some time, come to the Pilgrim Seed. Let me get it ready. Bring others. There's a future to be earned here, cycle by cycle. We'll be leaving as soon as we're able. If you want to help us get there faster, well, you'd be welcome. He meets your eye. Soul grimaces. Well, he pauses. Just don't keep me waiting. And he limps off towards his waiting crew. You pause for a moment to let your thoughts catch up. People want to hear about all of this. It should be your first port of call. Holy shit. Evacuate the eye. Help the Pilgrim Seed. Okay. Well, let's go and talk to Peak. We can tell Ashby found the fucking guns. As you enter the climbing briar, you immediately have to jump aside as Ash, lugging a massive crate across the cargo bay, pushes past you, grunting an apology as she does. Stay silent. As you turn back to the bay, Peak pushes past you. Sorry, Sleeper, just a second. Peak rushes to catch up with Ash. Put that down, please, Ash. But she doesn't respond to his urging. I thought Peak was they, them. All of the pronouns for Peak so far has been they, them. Damn, did they just misgender their own fucking character? Or is Peak a dude? I mean, like, I thought they were like, what's the word? Um, non-binary. But it says his, so I don't know. We can't leave. Not yet. Peek puts a hand on her shoulder. Please. I'm the only one here who can. The crate drops, the sound of its impact echoing around the bay like thunder. Can do what, Peek? Her eyes are burning with anger. Save this place? Are you still that naive? We are running, Peek. We're running because this thing cannot be stopped. It couldn't be stopped at XPR, our home. Why would we stay to stop it here? Because we can, Ash. We can give these people a chance, Peek pleads with her. Like they gave the refugees a chance? Ash shakes her head. No, Peek. This is not on us. We barely made it out of XPR. I worked for years to escape, and now you want to throw it all away? Left everything behind. My mother? My friends? To take you out of that place? She clenches her jaw. She turns and slams her hand onto the crate, breathing hard. We go? That's the end of it. Peek turns away. You feel unsure what to do, but you know now is not the time for outside arguments. This is between them. Peek crosses the bay back toward you. I'm sorry you had to see that, Sleeper. They sigh. Yeah, see, they. That said his. I'm assuming that was just a they didn't mean to say his. They meant to say their. Because Peek is definitely they, them. Let's talk upstairs. Peek leads you to the entry ladder, taking you up out of the bay and into the habitation level of the ship. You follow them through the tight corridors, noticing the handwritten notes, the clutter, the repairs, the signs of a home. Here, sit. Peek gestures to the broad mess table with its curved couches, and you slide in on one side. Peek sits opposite. They brush their hair out of their eyes and take a deep breath. So, how did it go? What did they say? I've been waiting all cycle. Tell them about Helen. Peek listens nervously as you explain how Helen said she will support your efforts to find a countermeasure for the Shadow Protocol. Okay. Peek looks pleased. That sounds good. Much better than I was hoping. What about the Council? Are they behind that? Or will she operate alone? Gotta tell them about Kemp. Peek looks increasingly troubled as you tell them about the Hardline Counselor Kemp's sudden appearance. Damn. And Helen's going to have problems of her own to deal with. Peek shakes their head. Looks like we won't be able to count on anything from Havenage. They pause. What stopped Kemp from arresting her? Let's talk about those guns. Peek rolls her eyes. Of course. Those are the guns Ash managed to smuggle through to the refugees. The ones she didn't tell us about, Peek sighs. Another thing that's on us. What's on us? Ash is standing quietly in the doorway listening. You don't know how long she has been there for. Peek looks up at her with tired eyes. Sleeper found the weapons you smuggled from XPR. Ash freezes. She glances between you and Peek, as if this might be some elaborate joke. The flotilla used them? Ash moves out of the doorway and enters the room. What happened? Peek interrupts. Be thankful that they didn't. They used them as threats. They used them as a threat. That is all. Good. Ash folds her arms. You get the feeling that she knows Peek will not approve. Peek goes to speak, and then decides not to take the bait. They glance at you. I'm sure you've heard enough of us arguing the cycle, Sleeper. Peek shoots a look at Ash, but our introduction of those weapons into the equation are just another reason why we cannot simply run away. Ash looks away, but says nothing. She surely knows they cannot absolve themselves of responsibility here. So what is motivating her? You realize that she still might be trying to protect Peek, even from themselves. Suddenly, a shrill beeping fills the room. Peek pulls out of their slate to silence it, but as they do, they freeze, their finger hovering above the screen, the beeping continuing its insistent pulse. What? Peek doesn't seem to hear you. They blink with gazed eyes at the slate, then they let out a long exhale and tap the screen. The bleeping shuts off, leaving a ringing silence behind. Ash frowns at Peek, planning to explain. 12 cycles. Peek looks vacantly up at you both. 12 cycles until the next flux event. They shake their head. I've been using the arrays on the Briar to look toward the center of the system, to approximate where the CAN channel should be. Just this moment, they detected a signal from the inner system. Given the distance and pattern of previous flux events, you have 12 cycles before it reaches the eye. The silence in the room is deafening. 12 cycles. That's it. Before a second wave hits in this place. Peak interrupts your thoughts. We start now. That's the end of it. Peak stands up to face Esh. You want to take the briar and run, Esh? That's on you, but I won't do it. They take a deep breath. I'll be here, Sleeper. For every cycle it takes, trying to find a solution. I'll need your help. Their eyes meet yours, and you see a wild desperation flickering there. We'll find something. The sooner we have a plan, the better. If it takes us 12 cycles to fix this thing, it'll be too late. Peak eyes flash with determination. They reach for a slate and pass it to you, so we can keep in touch. You pocket the thin, handheld terminal. And Esh, Peak starts, but she's gone, storming down the corridors of the ship on a path to who knows where. You know that from experience that it is impossible to outrun your fears, but you get a sense that Esh will try anyway. Peak rubs their red eyes, staring after Esh. Maybe I'll take a moment before we start. They smile weakly, tears of exhaustion gathering in their eyes. See you back here soon, okay? And you slip from the room into the corridor, Peak's quiet sob somehow carrying through the ship behind you as you leave. Alright. Protect the eye. The sooner you're prepared, the better the outcome. We gotta make a plan, but we also I mean, engineering. I mean, so we're probably gonna just do engineering shit, but I think it's more critical. Sorry, how long do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Oh, 12 days each. Wait, is that 12 days each, or is that just... Oh no, that's just the work that needs to be done. This is whenever it can be completed, but this is... You have 12 days total to complete this. That's actually not too bad. We can do this. Alright, so we'll try our best. I want to focus in on devising a strategy because we have 12 days. And I'm sorry, but I don't... After spending this much time on the eye, I know this wasn't our home, but it's become a home. So I think we have to focus on that. But yeah. Alright, I think we'll call it there, and then next time we'll try to figure something out with Peak. Until then.